me too, man. I can wear this on a date.
People who are most successful are the ones who don't just give up.
We have officially partnered up with Albemarle Paper Supply. Albemarle Paper Supply services paper products within the cities of Charlotte, Concord, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Salisbury, Morrisville, and smaller cities in between. From fiber, plastic, and foam bowls, paper towels, tissues, napkins, takeout containers, gloves, to janitorial supplies, and much, much more, Albemarle Paper is dedicated to bring you the paper goods you need. Customers can pick up products directly at Albemarle Paper's warehouse located at 735 Henson Street in Albemarle, North Carolina, or products can be delivered to you at your business doorstep. Today's live is also brought to you by CL Driving School. CL Driving School is a truck driving school located in Indian Trail, offering programs for both commercial Class A and Class B licenses. With your choice between automatic and manual transmission, their classes consist of small group trainings with one instructor per truck. Training is available on weekdays, weekends, and evenings. Not only do you receive classes, but opportunities for sponsorship programs, recruiter visits, and job placement assistance also occurs. CL Driving School is also trilingual with classes offered in English, Spanish, and Arabic. Register for classes today by calling 704-821-1111. 111141. What's up? Welcome to a new episode of the MLS Corner, the best corner in all of MLS. What can I say? It was a weekend to remember. Charlotte FC with the most historic win for us and the most historic defeat for Nashville. I don't think they've lost a game this badly ever in their history, which is great, you know. Finally, some positive news, you know, and to discuss it, I've got my man here. We'll start off with Brian. Brian, how are you, man? A week of vacation, bro. You leave Charlotte and we win 4-1. You go to Seattle and watch them and they lose 3-0, bro. Are you the curse? Is that what it is?
I mean, very well could be, man. I mean, geez, I come here, like, last game I've seen, Austin at the game, lose 1-0. Everybody's talking about how we can't hit a cross. Like the people are tweeting like point of view. It's all the goalie. Cross all going to the goalie. And like, man, I leave and I'm out of service. I'm in like a bunch of national parks, so I'm constantly in and out of service. And I see these updates, massive lineup changes. Seeing us get a road win, then seeing a 4-1 just demo of Nashville, and just seeing the way they were scoring, the way Jordy's like crosses were just on a dime.
Hey, bro, relax. We'll get to it. Before, you know, Charlotte FC made an MLS debut with Ben McNeil. We got to make an MLS debut with my man Tyler Trent. Tyler, how are you today?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm doing pretty good. Coming off that win. I'm hoping now that Brian's back, we can beat Miami this weekend. But we know for sure that it's his fault if we lose.
I won't be in Miami. So that should help.
The TV is probably enough for your curse.
Nice. And just for the people that don't know you, Tyler, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
I'm a civil engineer by day. Been watching soccer since 2010 in the World Cup. I used to go to DC United games quite a bit because I live in Christiansburg, Virginia. It's about 4 hours from DC. So when Charlotte announced their team was coming to Charlotte, I jumped ship pretty quick. It's a little bit closer for me, and I have no regrets about it at all.
Awesome. Don't, bro. I mean, I think Lee says it. The first year we forgive you. Next year you're just on the bandwagon. It's the inaugural year. So if you hop on in the inaugural year, you're good to go. Second year, we're gonna call you a bandwagon fan.
Yeah, after we win MLS Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. Well, let's get into a little bit of Charlotte FC with a 4-1 commanding win against Nashville. It started off with a penalty by the man himself, Christian Fuchs, the captain. He was never going to miss it. I'm cool and collected on the penalty. Then that cross to Reina as well, to Sigursky, who breaks his goal drought. I absolutely love this celebration. Look at that man. Freaking broke the throne. It wasn't watch the throne, it was break the throne. Right there. And then Benjamin Bender to our first official signing, first official goal in Charlotte FC. Last but not least, Andre Shinyashiki. What a goal. What a game, guys. Oh my God. That, first of all, I'm upset. It was 3-1. I'm leaving the press box because I want to go downstairs to the field. When I come back, when I go down, it's 4-1. I'm like, yo, what happened? Then I see the replay of Shinyashiki's goal. And I'm like, good Lord, this man is on another level right now. Like, Andre Shinyashiki, 11 games, 6 goals for Charlotte FC. And I got to say it again, man. We have the best fans in MLS. I mean, that stadium was buzzing. It was freaking buzzing. When it was 4-1, the ole, like the video I took doesn't even do justice on how good the atmosphere is here in Charlotte. But let's get straight away with it, guys. And I want to hear from everybody in the comments section. Tell me about the positives of this game. I'll start off with you, Tyler.
Swiderski broke his goal streak. I got to plug my article that we released today. I've been working on it for a week and a half, and the timing was just perfect with him finally getting that header. Being able to bring late subs in against Nashville when they were chasing the game, like Bender, Shinyashiki. We also had Vargas on the bench. Like, having that kind of quality on the bench to come in and finish off a game against an opponent that's going to be leaving some space in the back is it's a great thing to have. And one thing I want to say is I thought during the match, I was like watching Quinn McNeil play in the first half. And I was like, I feel like he's playing like what I thought Jordi Alcivar was going to play like for Charlotte. I'm hoping that Alcivar comes back and can do great for Charlotte. But I feel like Quinn McNeil's brought in something that nobody was bringing in before in a short time in the 2 games he's played.
Absolutely, man. I agree there with you. I mean, I think Quinn had a great game, man. Two of his best qualities for me is his ability to link up play and how much distance this guy covers, and him and Bram, bro. These men like run 90 minutes nonstop. And I mean, all the dirty work that Brant does not get noticed enough. And so that's something I wanted to point out as well. And yeah, like you said, it was good. Somebody mentioned it in the comments, like that relief that Carroll had, like scoring that goal. First of all, world-class header. Second of all, world-class cross. That man Reina is so good on his day, man. He is unstoppable. I mean, the balls that he pings are unreal. Brian, talk to me about this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the other thing that I would have just, besides all, I mean, obviously, Carroll breaking the streak is just crucial for us. But, I mean, it's already been touched on. I think the other big thing is Jordi Reina. Like, his ability to cross, because that's the difference, right? Like, in Austin, we couldn't get a ball into the box that was accurate. Like, to say, like, a lot of pressure was on Camille, and it just, like, it wasn't happening. Jordi Reina, the last two games, has just been dropping dimes in there. Like over and over and over again. He's like responsible for his passing is responsible for most of the starters' goals. I mean, obviously you get the extra insurance goals off of the subs on the bench, but like I think like the own goal in Houston was across a switch of play to Camille, who then gets puts in the ball for the own goal. He gets the pass to Sergio Ruiz on the penalty, and he gets the cross in for Carroll. It's just he's been unbelievable, and that was an unbelievable decision by Latanzio, I think, to make that kind of change based on just like Shinyashiki's performances, and to be willing to switch him out and let a playmaker come in to get those kind of balls into the box, and then be willing to be like, hey, I still have the guy who's in the best form on the team to come in for 30 minutes and be willing to make that and take that chance. I think that's a huge tactical decision that is paying off like crazy, right? I mean, he almost always scores when he comes off the bench. He kind of reminds me of Paco Alcacer when he was playing for Dortmund, the way he would come in off the bench and just every time he would come off the bench, and they just never even put him in the starting lineup. He was like their leading goal scorer, but they're like, you know what? He's scoring in 30 minutes. Why put him in for the first 60?
Yeah, you're right, man.
That for me.
This is a good comment here too. I like what Kyle says. One thing that not many people pay attention to when it comes to CLTFC is the collective work rate of this team across the board is off the charts, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's like a post-Latanzio thing, you know? I mean, especially you notice it in the very last two games. Like, they were pressing from the football, right? They brought that intensity. It is something that the players talked about that this team really lacked. And you know what? We're seeing it more and more. I mean, kudos to him for putting in a guy like Quinn, who he discovered, right? You know, who he's been watching. And Quinn did absolutely phenomenal. I think he had a great game. Obviously, Bender came in and had 2 assists and takes all the light. But why does Ben have 2 assists? Because he's got more space to operate now. The Nashville team is a little retired, and you can see the best Ben Bender after that. But kudos to Quinn. I think he had an amazing game as well. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when it comes to Quinn, one of the big things that I noticed out of him is quick passing, like 1-2 touch, moves the pass, and then moves into more space. And he's constant, like that constant movement back and forth across the pitch is what really is an engine that helps drive the team. And I think also one of the things I noticed, especially in this last game, was Brandt was way more willing to drive up the field, it seemed, because he seemed confident in Ruiz and McNeil being in position to back him up, which makes our midfield way more unpredictable, right? So Brandt often is having to play in the back and kind of go side to side and not be willing to be a part of the attack, because if he goes up, there's nobody backing anything up. And whereas with Quinn McNeil and Ruiz, it seemed like there's a lot more positioning. And so Brandt was willing to be a little bit more of an unpredictable forward in attack. And like
100%.
moving forward into attack.
You know what? It's a great point that you make, especially I think Sergio and Brandt, like switching those roles. He goes into more of that 8 role, and then Sergio drops back as the 6. And so, great observation. Now that you mentioned that, you're right. I mean, I don't think that's a coincidence, you know. You see this team under Christian Latanzio. I mean, if I would have told you 3 games ago that our starting midfield would be Quinn, McNeil, Sergio, and Brandt, what would you have told me? First of all, half of our fan base would have been like, who is Quinn? You know? Right?
Yeah.
Tanking for the drop pick at that point. But somehow it's like they look like a completely new team with those 3 in midfield. These last 2 games, especially, like, I mean, Bronico's been good the whole year, but adding Quinn in there has just like opened Bronico, like you mentioned, to like move forward more. Like, he's got a few shots like that came relatively close, you know, and like Brian said, Quinn is that kind of guy that's going to have those quick passes. Like, he's not wasting touches. He's not just like moving the ball backwards at all times. He's been really smart about how he moves the ball and taking care of the ball in these 2 games he's had recently.
100%. You're right. This is a really good question here. I'll let you hit this one, Brian. Do you think we'll go with the same lineup against Miami since we keep winning? Or do we switch it? Do we put an informed Shinyashiki? Do we put a Ben Bender in from the get-go?
I mean, I think at this point, I'm willing to have faith in Latanzio and decide whatever decision he ends up making. I think Miami has been playing.
Come on, bro. That's a cop-out, bro. Give us a real.
I'm sorry. All right, but here's so that's the first point. Whatever Latanzio goes with, I'm cool with, because I in Latanzio, I'm trusting, because he has done just brilliant work since taking over. Miami has been playing 3 at the back the last couple of games, it looks like, and it doesn't. I don't have as much faith in Ben Bender when he has to face a 3 at the back, a 3-5-2 style, because there's just way more congestion in the middle, and it pushes him out wide to try to find that space that he likes to find. We saw that in Columbus. He was constantly pushing out wide, and then Shinyashiki was kind of getting pissed at him because he's like, "Hey, you're out on the wing with me," like, right? And so you kind of have this issue of Ben struggling to find that space in the middle. And so if they play a 3 at the back, or like they have been the last couple of weeks, I'd rather have Quinn in there, just because it doesn't seem like Ben finds the space when it's really congested inside the box. And I also, that was actually one of my other points. Was then that I remember that's one of the main reasons why I feel like Yedlin shouldn't be on the All-Star team, was like that one. But it was just like, it's just sad.
You just sat him down, my guy.
Yeah, for class. Like, here, open your books to chapter 4. Right? Like, just
Wojcicki should have grabbed that throne and put it on the field so Yedlin could sit down, bro. Yeah, man. Honestly, man, all I can say was that was probably the most electrifying, outside of that very first game with 74,000 people. This is probably my favorite home game, just because of how good the atmosphere was. Even the Nashville fans said, you saw that tweet from one of those Nashville fans that said, "Hey, I've been to Atlanta games where they've scored on us. I've been to Charlotte FC games now where they've scored on us. And by far, this is a way better atmosphere." Bro, what more of a compliment can you get when a rival fan tells you something like that? It doesn't get any better than this. This thanks to everybody that shows up and is always there supporting the team no matter what. I love that.
Actually, I remember that tweet because I was like, right after the losing to Austin, I feel like there was a lot of low blows coming from Austin fans about like our crowd and stuff like that, which really like grinded my gears a little bit, because it's like there's no way it has anything to do with the crowd. You can give our players some flack for like not finding the result in that instance, but like taking it out on the fans or our fan base was like, I was kind of peeved. And so seeing an Austin fan come out and be like, y'all are a solid fan base in that way, and not saying that we're better than Atlanta in that way, I was pretty fun.
Right. Nice. Awesome. Well, awesome. So I've got a couple questions for you boys tonight, and some questions also for everybody on this live. And we'll start it off, I guess, with my man Latanzio, man. 6 games under him now, 3 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. Do you give Latanzio the full-time gig now?
No, not yet. You wait to the end of the season, make the call then. On the path he's on right now, I think he's looking like a lock to continue. But you never know. Like, it could go downhill next weekend. You never know.
What would warrant for you to say at the end of the season, this is the guy that should take Charlotte FC forward? Because, I mean, you've seen improvement in the squad. Listen, it's only been 6 games, and we're already seeing a better Charlotte FC. Again, this is an expansion team. Again, this is a team that, like, you know, like a lot of people weren't giving us credit for. So what do you have to see, Tyler, to say, yes, this is my guy for the future?
If he makes the playoffs, I think he's sealed his job. If he doesn't make the playoffs but comes close, I think he's still got a pretty good chance at it, and I would support it as long as they are still looking good on the field. Like, the results aren't always going to go your way. Like, if the shot had went in against Nashville, the game could have changed from there on out, but that doesn't mean we played poorly. So looking at what the team's playing like on the pitch, and then at least staying in playoff contention, even if we end up missing out in the end, I think he's still got a good shot of continuing on as the manager.
Yeah, I think the other thing is just like, whether it's playoffs or not, end results or not, is like, does a foundation seem to be there? And do some of our young, right? Because the whole premise, the whole project, as advertised, was developing stars, building stars in Charlotte. So if you start to see high quality players forming or developing, like, I mean, I would say we already have several high quality players, but like seeing the development of that progression take place, where it's really getting recognized by fans, by MLS as a whole, I think that's also plays a huge role. Like, do we see Ben Bender continue to improve? Do we see guys like Quinn I think Quinn McNeil is even a better point because that really seems to be like one of Latanzio's guys, right?
Well, here's the thing though. Quinn McNeil is the one that we see because now Latanzio is the head coach. But guess who's also working with Brant Bronico one-on-one during the Miguel era?
Yeah.
It was Latanzio. Who was working with Ben Bender one-on-one during the Miguel era? It was Latanzio. So this is a guy like what you're saying. It's like you could see he discovered Quinn, right? We can all see that. But I think the development of a lot of other players is also due to him, And so I definitely see this squad improve. My answer to this question, honestly, I don't know if I would wait till the end of the season. I want to see what happens these next 5 games. We have a very, very winnable 5 games. These next games, obviously we've got Miami next. Then we head to Toronto. Well, in between that, we have the Chelsea game next week. So get ready for that, right? So that'll be fun. But then we have Toronto, who's below us, and it looks like they're about to sign Bernardeschi. So they'll have him and Insigne, so it'll be interesting. Then we have 3 back-to-back home games playing Columbus Crew, DC United, and Chicago Fire. 3 teams that, in my opinion, are very, very – those are very, very winnable games. Honestly, all 5 of those games, in my opinion, are very winnable games. And I asked today how many points people thought they could get out of this game. It was very interesting to see what people said. In my opinion, I would love to see at least 9 points out of this 15. 9 to me is solid enough to get us in, continue to stay in that playoff contention. But I think I've seen every game that I've seen under Latanzio. I can't think of a game where we were completely dominant, right? Even the game against Montreal, where we were from 10 players, 11 players, we were still very competitive, right? And then these next 5 games is really going to tell me what this coach is about. If we can get, 9 out of 15 isn't a lot, in my opinion. Those are three wins, right? I think we could do 12 or 15, but let's stick with 9. What about you guys?
I would be disappointed with 9. Like, to be frank, I would be disappointed with 9. This next 5 games, right, can really be a deciding factor in the whole season, right? Because if they do really well, exceptionally well, 12, 13 points, they're almost in the playoffs at that point, right? So it doesn't mean they'll and then on the flip side, if they only get 6 or 7 or 9 kind of keeps them in that lukewarm state that they're in right now, which is right on the edge, right on that knife's edge. 9 is kind of keeps us there. But if we get only 6 or 7, I would say we're borderline because the schedule gets way tougher after that, right? We got to play NYCFC twice, we got to play Philly at home, right, and LAFC on the road. It gets this 5 games, this 5-game stretch can really be a huge deciding factor in how the rest of the season plays out. And so I would say 9 would be borderline disappointing. I would say double.
You would be content with 9. You wouldn't be happy or upset.
Yeah, I would be okay, now we're in the same boat we're in, which is probably a game in hand on some teams and right around 6th or 7th, right? But teams would still have a game in hand on it, right? We'd be in the same, pretty much, I think, the same boat. I don't think we would move up the table at all or really move down. I think once we get to 10, 11, 12 points is when it actually shows that we have improved. We have improved our chances for sure. And that's what I would expect from us. I don't think that's unreasonable. When we look at the way we play
unreasonable. But I think this team is still not we're not as good as in my opinion, we're not as good as a 4-1 victory over Nashville, and we're not as bad as I can't think of our worst loss. See, even thinking of a game that we were totally dominating. I guess the Philly game, right? Where we lost, I think it was 2-0, and we played really bad.
Red Bull's Open Cup.
And we're not as good as the 4-1, in my opinion. We're somewhere in between, closer to the 4-1 than we are to the 2-0, right?
But I also think
I can see another game where we lack that creativity and we can't break a team down, and they nick us 1-0 again.
Yeah. Well, I think also but keep in mind, I think we've been pretty consistent against teams that are worse than us in the table. I don't think there's been a situation where we've come away with a bad performance or not gotten points from a team lower than us in the table all season. I'm pretty sure everybody has been we've only lost to playoff teams besides DC. But that was I would caveat that was week 1. We didn't have any DPs. It was our first game ever on the road. Besides that, I would say we're pretty decent against teams that aren't quite with it in terms of just consistency on the field and things like that. Now, I will say our toughest game I think is going to be this next week against Miami. They're pretty dang good at home. They haven't lost a home game since April 2nd. So that's
and they still have. I think they have 2 games in hand still. But hold on.
Yeah. They do play Wednesday.
Hold on, bro. Brian, bro, you coming in with all this extra energy today. Topics, bro. Relax. First, you wanted to get a Nashville, didn't want to introduce Tyler. Now you want to go to Miami without letting me finish my questionnaire. Hold up, bro.
All right.
Bro, you go to a Portland Seattle game and you act all new on us, man.
My bad.
Nice. Awesome. Anything you want to add to that, Tyler?
I'm kind of in the same ballpark as you guys. 9 minimum, win all the home games. I feel more confident going, huh?
Yeti makes a good point there. 9 should be expected because we have 3 home games. You're right. I'm going to change my answer to 12. Right? You're right. You guys convinced me, man. See, I can be convinced.
Yeah.
Yeah, win all the 3 home games. Something I do want to bring up is a lot of the teams that we're facing have made signings recently and big signings in those 5 teams, other than maybe Chicago.
That's a great
DC got Wayne Rooney as the new manager. Columbus has a new striker. And I don't know if Miami's going to have their 2 new signings ready for this game this weekend, but they also brought in 2 pretty good players to their attack. So I think hardest game will be in Toronto, though, personally.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely. But yeah, you're right. That's a really good point where all these other teams are making moves. Charlotte, bro, I know we're talking to people and it sounds like we're going to get somebody over the line soon, but I need you boys to hurry up. If we want to make playoffs, we need to get some signings in my opinion, in my humble opinion, right? So, all right, next question I want to pose to everybody, right? And this is an interesting one. A little 1v1. We've got Andre Shinyashiki, 11 matches, 6 goals. We've got Karol Swiderski, who this weekend hit his 5th goal of the season. I want to ask you guys, who's going to finish with more goals this season? DP striker, Polish international next to Lewandowski, who will most likely be in the World Cup, Karol Swiderski, or is it the Brazilian magician who's come into Charlotte and just revolutionized the team? Like I said, 6 goals in 11 games. He's coming in here with a point to prove. And is he going to be the guy that is our top scorer this season? All right, guys, give it to me. Who do y'all think it's going to be?
Swiderski.
Ooh.
I'm a big Swiderski fan. I can't help it. I am a fan of maybe playing both of them together, though. Letting Shinyashiki be on the wing. I don't think you can really bench Reyna right now with how he's been playing.
Right.
Uzviak's been okay. He's hit a little hit and miss, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Shinyashiki play with Swiderski and Reyna. But I think Shinyashiki's going to get passed up and left in the dust by Swiderski.
Yeah. Well, even for a bit, when he switched to back 3, they played a 3-5-2 with Karol and Shinyashiki for a little bit.
That was the point I was going to make. I feel like it would be really interesting to see more of that. And I think that comes with Shinyashiki staying on the bench in a lot of situations, which I think a lot of people are not going to be happy with. But we're going to start most games with a 4-3-3, which leaves somebody out, right? It leaves somebody out. And Shinyashiki is a strike. Like he said it, he's a striker. He's a second striker, and he likes to play in the middle up top. And like he'll play on the wing, right, for playing time, and he can still get goals when he's in form. But like that's not his natural position. And I think there's going to be a lot of situations where it's going to, especially if Camille can get into a better form where he can actually like finish these big opportunities he puts himself in, where it will behoove Charlotte to continue bringing Shinyashiki in as a super sub, and leave and get, and especially in situation. I mean, think about it. So like how like it's not really all that like parking the bus if you have your two best goal scorers, one of them subbed in on the pitch in a 3-5-2 scenario. I think that's possibly like, and like honestly, the 3-5-2 has been scoring goals like pretty consistently. I mean, I know it really got under people's skin during the Columbus game, but like it's been working in terms of they've been getting finishes with that. And I think it doesn't hurt to have Shinyashiki out there in this, like coming in as a sub in those situations. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it takes anything away from him as a player. It's just like, hey, this is a position where we could bring you in when you're the fresh guy, the guy in form, ready to street ball on these defenders that have been running for 60 minutes. And I mean, at this point, so I actually looked this up. He's subbed in 3 times, and I think he's scored in every single substitution that he's been in. Like, I don't think he's ever been subbed in and not scored a goal.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you not consider that as an option? I do think Swiderski ends up taking it, and I think that's better for Charlotte long term if Carroll is our leading goal scorer, just because I think when Carroll scores, it just like Charlotte just seems to be in a way better team overall.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, that's and Tyler touched on it in his article as well, man. I mean, Carol Swiderski is getting a lot of slack, but I feel a bit of it is unfairly, but I do love the fact that like he even said it in his press conference. He's like, I know I'm the DP. I'm supposed to be scoring more, right? Like that personal accountability is something that I really like, And so I'm like, you know what? Like, yo, like we see a lot of other stuff that you do, but still you come out to this press conference and say, I'm the DP striker. I should be scoring more, right? Like that goes a long way. It looks like a lot of the people in the comments are on that Swiderski train, man. And I mean, but that goal that Andre scored this weekend was sublime, man. I didn't think he had that in his artillery. I'm gonna just be upfront with you guys. But after seeing that, I'm like, okay, like this guy is the real deal, and he continues to prove it every weekend. Who's to say this weekend we start a 4-3-3 again? And you know what? The game's really tight, and Shinyashiki gets subbed in, and he wins it for us. Do you bench him again against Toronto? I don't know. I don't think so, right?
No. It depends. I mean, again, I think it just depends on how the game plays out. Like the game tactically has just worked in this way, right? It's set up everybody for success. And until it doesn't, I don't know if you change it. Like it's hard to decide, because like if he's scoring a goal in 30 minutes, I don't know. Like, does that? I mean, because when he starts, he doesn't always score, right? It doesn't always happen. It hasn't always happened, and so I don't know. It's hard to say either way. Like, especially right now when it's working.
And we didn't even see Kerwin Vargas this weekend. He didn't even make the bench this week. He didn't even make the 18. Our U22 player, who when he came in that very first game against, I think it was Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
He lit up Bank of America, right? And then, like, under Latanzio, he hasn't been featured as much. And you know what? This weekend, he didn't even include him in the 18, and it was a technical decision. It wasn't because Kerwin Vargas was injured. It wasn't because, he had some sort of issue. It was a decision. And you know what? It's hard to knock it when you win 4-1, right? So these are good, really, really good problems for our coach to have. I think we're very, in my opinion, I think we're good in the forward line. We have a lot of options, a lot of good options, right? I mean, if we're leaving guys like Kerwin Vargas, a U22 player, out of the 18, that lets you know that up top we're pretty deep right now. I think in our back line we're pretty deep, especially at center backs. You know, we could argue left back, right back all day, but I think there's enough there. Fuchs, you've got who's playing left back. You have Mora, who's done it well as well. Right back, he's choosing to go with Harrison a fool. Jalen can easily slot in there as well. And I mean, in center backs, we've got Guzman Corujo, we've got Jan Subaczynski, we've got Anton Walks, we've got, who am I missing? McCoon. I think that midfield role, although there's a lot of players there, in my opinion, we still do not have that creative spark, that creative outlet. And that is what this team is missing. And I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to keep crying about it until the club does something about it. So all of y'all that watch this, do something about it.
Yeah. So I think this kind of goes back to, because I think way earlier, Joshua left a question about whether or not Sergio Ruiz can be our attacking midfielder. And I think it's not that he's a 10, because I wouldn't say that he is. But in situations like now where we're kind of playing 2-8s, it works. I do think having a more attacking minded player, especially like a big signing, is going to be really behoove the team moving forward long term, not even maybe just for this season. Because I think, like Zoran said, he's kind of committed to the squad as it is to try to make a run for it this year. But I think long term, similar to how Austin signed Driussi last summer, gave him the rest of the summer, and now look at where they're at this year, right? And I think that's kind of the difference when it comes to signing an attacking midfielder in the summer. Because I mean, it usually takes a year. You see a lot of these international players coming into MLS, and it takes them several months to really get into a groove and really get into the system of how MLS plays, and then starting performing at a really high level. Daniel Gazdag is another great example of this, right? It took him a full year, and now look at where he's at. So I think that's really the big thing in terms of like getting that attacking midfielder this summer, is like next year, that's the type of signing that could put Charlotte at that next level in terms of competing at the highest level.
And in my opinion, bro, you're never going to get your first expansion year back. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, we are in the playoff contention right now. Yeah. Add this piece now. You've built the team to add it in the summer, so you have to add it in the summer if your intentions were to build the team this way. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You put together a plan, albeit you threw in the anomaly of Miguel Angel Ramirez, right? But at the end of the day, if I'm the front office and I'm the technical staff and the sporting directors, in your mind, you were putting the team, seeing how the team performed, and seeing what was lacking in the summer. And in the summer, in my opinion, we're still lacking that attacking guy. I think Sergio is a great player. In my opinion, he is not a cam. Never was meant to be. And Miguel thought he was going to be his starting six, and he quickly realized that with the physicality of the MLS, Sergio was not going to be a consistent six.
No, he's a Regista style 8.
Right. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I mean, and they left a DP spot open for this summer too, right? Like it's not technically open, but it's open, right? Because they have the GAM, the TAM to buy down Jordy's contract, right? That was all part of the plan. They've been saying that since February or March, right? They've been saying that like this is kind of the idea, is like we have the opportunity to add a DP in the summer, reinforcements when necessary, based on how those first 10, 15 games go, and we kind of really get a feel for what's missing, what we have. So I can totally understand where fans are coming from at the end of July if that kind of signing hasn't been made, when like you were kind of told, hey, this opening is there for the team to make that kind of move.
Yeah. I think they're, if they don't add it, they're gambling,
Huge
it's a huge gamble. It may pay off, but if it doesn't, be like, well, you had the window to do it and you didn't do it. So, especially and I think, not seeing Titi Ortiz or even Jordi Alcivar these last two games as well is a big telling, right? Because those two guys have been our most creative outlets this season. right? And they didn't even get in the. I don't remember. Okay, they didn't get in the 18 in Houston. I don't remember this game if they did, but I know for a fact they didn't play, right? So that's a huge thing. Maybe we could see TT be gone this summer, and if they let him go and don't replace him, and we don't make playoffs, in my opinion, that's an issue, right? I just saw a question about Guzman Corujo. So he was subbed out at half. I asked Latanzio about this during the after the win, and he said he felt something in his hamstring. They weren't sure that he was going to be 100%, so they decided not to risk him. Today during training, he trained separate from the group, so that's telling that he's still not 100%. So this, depending on how his evolution goes this week, we'll see if he actually is the starting center back this weekend. And in my opinion, that'll be a huge blow because Guzman Corujo has been one of our most consistent top 3 best players this season. And so we're really going to need him, especially for this next stretch where I think we have a lot of winnable games. Nice. Cool. I'll see right next to Franco. That's funny. All right. So let's get into it. Since you were so excited about talking about Inter Miami, man, we go to Inter Miami this weekend, a.k.a. Fort Lauderdale. Who knows where this stadium is? Apparently it's in the middle of nowhere, and so I'm excited. I'll be heading down there this weekend, and we're going to vlog it up. Got a lot of cool things. I got a lot of things in mind. The thing is, will I have enough time to do them is always what I ask myself. And so it'll be a great weekend. Excited. Can't wait to hang out with David Beckham. He already told me he would take me on his private yacht. So hopefully that does happen. And so, Brian, talk to us about Inter Miami.
Yeah, so I think when we go down there and play Fort Lauderdale FC, I think no, they're a good team at home, right? They've been able to get results at home. Like I said earlier, they haven't lost since like April 2nd. So I think getting the points is going to be a grind. They don't possess the ball a whole lot, right? They haven't really done that a ton this season. So I think we are going to get possession and be able to keep possession, but it's whether or not we finish, right? Which is our issue, especially on the road. A lot of times when we keep possession, can we be efficient with that and get that 1-0 lead? Because I think that opportunity is going to be there. But if we don't get it, similar to how it was when we played them in Charlotte, that was like a really nervy game for me watching.
Yeah,
like
right.
0-0 at the half. It's like, man, why aren't we switched to the 4-3-3 that game? Everybody's all hype about the aggression that we're going to play with and that 4-3-3 at home. And we're just not seeing the end result. I don't even think we really saw that many clean opportunities either. Yeah. And then it took Shinashiki coming in off the bench to put it in, right? And Jordi Reyna. So to get that 1-0, but it wasn't I wasn't super confident in the team with that game. And so I think doing that kind of performance in Miami is dangerous, right? If that game stays 0-0 for the longer it stays 0-0, the more energy you're going to see from Miami and the more chances you're giving to Campana to come out and get that lead. Cause I think he was one of the snubs from the All-Star team. The All-Star team was Campana. I don't think he was on over a lot of other strikers, and he's been on a tear. So I think that's the one big thing is can we get that goal early, especially in the first half, and not just leave it?
100%. Tyler, what are you thinking, man? Inter Miami. Brian's right. They have a good record at home, but in my opinion, they're still an inconsistent team. I think out of the last 4 games, they've only won 1.
Yeah.
So, and they just lost to, was it Orlando they just lost to? I want to say it was Orlando.
Yeah, they lost to Orlando.
Not to mention they have to play tomorrow against Philadelphia Union.
Yeah.
So, we have an advantage going into this game because they have that game next as well.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to bring up the Philly game. Maybe they take that one a little easier and try to prepare for us. Think it's an easier time. I don't know, but they've beat some good teams recently. They beat New York. They beat Portland.
That's a good point.
They beat Minnesota, and I think they tied with Dallas recently as well. Just that loss to Orlando, and I think they had one more loss. That was
lost to Atlanta too, I want to say.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. That's the only other bad worst loss.
Yeah, well, Atlanta have been really poor recently. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries, but still, they haven't been good, right?
Yep. But I think you look at it, like looking at the last game, we're a lot better team than we were at that point. They probably are too. I'm not going to say I follow Miami super closely, but we are a much better team over our last 3 games compared to that team that took on Miami. I think it's going to be a comfortable win.
Really?
Nice.
I think we're going to score early, and we're going to get a late score too.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
I can see that happening. Definitely. And you kind of jumping on that Brian train where you're like
giving predictions.
Yeah. So I guess we'll get right into it then. We'll talk a little bit about some score predictions, So we'll start off with you, Tyler.
2-0. I think Swiderski scores pretty early, and then we get a maybe 70th minute score second. Shinyashiki, I guess.
Shinyashiki again?
Yep.
All right. I like it. I want to hear from everybody in the comments section too. Tell me who's going to score. Tell me at what minute. Tell me who assists. Tell me if that player has a yellow card during the game as well. Brian.
Yeah, I think we're gonna win pretty handily as well. I know maybe I made it sound like Inter Miami was gonna be tough, and they are. Like they're gonna be, but I think we get the job done.
Be an easy game.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get the job done in terms of just like getting that early goal, coming out and getting that early goal, just based on the confidence of the team right now. We're feeling good, and like y'all said, Miami's got a game tomorrow. It's gonna be a hard fought game. It's gonna be at home, but it's gonna be a hard fought game against Philly because Philly comes in and plays hard. That's just how they are. Right. And so I think we're going to win 3-1. And I think, Carroll's going to continue his run. He's going to get that early goal, which he had been doing early on in the season, right? That was what he did in those 2 games was he scored early. So he's going to come out and score early, 1-0, going in the half, 1-0. And we're going to finish it off 3-1.
Nice. I love it. I love the confidence. Yeah. I got to go here, man. Me and Yeti have been on the same wavelength, it looks like. I don't think it'll be 2-1. I think it'll be 2-0. But I definitely see another Swiderski goal, and I definitely see another Shinyashiki goal as well, like Tyler said. And honestly, I want Shinyashiki to score again so that Miami guy who said that we overpaid for him can again see Shinyashiki. He said that the week before Shinyashiki made his debut against Miami, and guess who won us that game? Andre Shinyashiki.
Yeah.
And guess what? It would be so sweet for my man to do a double on Inter Miami home away score. So homeboy can be like, dang, this Andre Shinyashiki guy is pretty good.
I didn't realize how he was talking about overpaying. All right, I'm switching my prediction to 3-2. We're still going to be up 3-1, but they're going to score a second, and Andre has that third, so he still has the game winner.
Yeah, and I'm gonna look for that guy. Yo, you remember?
Yeah.
For this guy, 7 goals in 12 games. What's up?
Yeah. I mean, he's already got to be backtracking that. I mean, just the difference between what we paid for Andre compared to what Colorado paid for Giassi is outrageous. I mean, it's just outrageous. They're paying they paid like $2 million in GAM per goal. Like, right? Like this word.
Yeah, man. And you could tell too, I mean, it was last weekend's press conference that Andre did. Like he was coming in here with motivation, And he said it himself. It wasn't like they were pushing for him to leave, He wasn't playing where he wanted to play. I think they were playing him more as an 8, And here you can see that he does a lot of things well. He can play multiple positions, but he's being more effective for Charlotte FC.
Yeah. Well, in Colorado, they haven't been known the last few years to be able to produce a high quality striker, right? Who gets a ton of goals. The last couple of years, there's Rubio has I think he's found a little bit more goal scoring this year, but they haven't really been able to get their strikers' goals. And so I think that probably also played a role. He wanted to be somewhere where he might fit better and get more goal scoring opportunities. I mean, as a striker, that's all you can ask for.
100%. 100%. I agree with it. How much is Inter Miami paying for Messi next season?
All of the money.
For real. Silence the hater. Andres, keep silencing the haters, bro. We're right behind you. And then last but not least, anything else you guys have any questions on before we end the live? So I'll give you a second here to throw in any questions y'all have. I will tell you this. I am very confident that we'll make at least one signing this window. And so hopefully it's what I want. I still haven't figured out. I've got an idea, and I still don't know, you know? It's like you know, but you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Should
Young
we stay
DP?
in the same lineup? Of course we should. You know?
No, is it young DP?
Huh?
I'm sorry. The guy you're interested in is a young DP. I'm poking for the fans. Totally, dude. I got you.
And if he signs,
yeah.
big name, bro, big name. Tell me, outside of Christian Fuchs, when were you surprised by a name that Charlotte FC dropped? Was it more like, who is this guy? And then you figured out he was good? Or was it, yo, we just signed Christian Fuchs? Suarez to Charlotte? Yeah, you can go to Suarez Bakery at Optimus Hall. Is Charlotte ready for Chelsea? Bro, is Chelsea ready for Charlotte? Is a better question. You know what I'm saying? Bro, who is Christian Pulisic next to Ben Bender? Who is Mason Mount next to Quinn McNeil? Who is Conte next to Brant Bronico? Please.
Somebody had a good point earlier too about that. I can't remember who said it, but they mentioned Vargas getting a start against Chelsea, giving him some minutes there. Yeah. I hope that we get that.
Yeah. I hope Chris Hagar maybe gets a start too. That would be awesome.
Yo, shout out to my boy Chris Hagar because, I mean, obviously it sucks that the team's playing so well, but the minutes he's had, he's done really well, man. Yeah. So can you say we expect? I will say it'll definitely not happen next week. How about that?
That would be really fast.
I got to make a couple of phone calls and we'll make it happen.
It's not happening next week because it's happening this week.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
That would be even more impressive.
Bro.
They would have kept that in under wraps really well.
For sure. Awesome. And with that, I guess we'll end the show today. Tyler, where can we find you at, bro?
You can find me at ttrent4 on Twitter and on topin90.com. I do want to raise one more point before we leave, though. I believe you teased something else in the post for this. Is that not going to get teased anymore?
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that. Dang, I'm glad you reminded me that before we end it, man. You know, I'm going to leave you guys with some food for thought here. You know, this right here is Christian McCoon's Instagram profile. Everybody in the comments section, please tell me if you see something interesting on this Instagram profile. Let's see if any of y'all caught it like I did. To be fair, I didn't catch it. Somebody else caught it for me. Let's see. No responses. Come on, guys. Are y'all not stalking the team like I am? I'll tell you what it is, you know. McCoon's profile before used to have Charlotte FC player. McCoon's profile before used to have photos of him in Charlotte FC gear. Where are those photos now? Where are those photos now is my question. So we'll leave it with that. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. We've got some. Yo, everybody went like really quiet. Like somebody like relaxed, guys. Yeah, and people are saying praise Jesus. McCoon is a liability. Honest, come on, guys. McCoon moving on. You know what? I've been talking to some people, and it's very interesting the dynamic that's going on. But I wanted to leave y'all with that for some food for thought, you know. And so, Tyler, thank you so much for reminding me of that, man, because it totally went over my head. That's what happens when I don't add the notes. Things go out the window. Brian, my man, where can we find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at BA Maurer Media. You can also find all my work at topbid90.com as well. Yeah, and a lot more to come, and especially on. I mean, I've got a bunch of pieces in the works, so stay tuned. Stay tuned. Shameless plug.
Nice. Yeah, we got a lot of good pieces in the work. We're headed to Miami this weekend, and guess what? The vlog is back. The taco reviews are back. Hopefully I can get some footage of me, nutmegging David Beckham on his private yacht on some island that we go to after we leave Miami that nobody knows about except me because I get the exclusive. And with that, we end this episode. Don't give me a knot. You'll never walk alone. Get out of here. We were playing. All right. What? Matt, bro, what kind of comment is this, my guy? I was on a high. With that, we'll leave.
That's 4-0 win today.
Center back. All right, guys, we're headed out. Peace out. Have a good night.